Welcome, everyone. It's lovely to have those who are here live and see some of your lovely faces and your names. And to those who are watching the recording later, welcome. I still have this year I didn't have the upgraded Zoom. So since about 2 weeks ago, and I'm just on the standard one, they seem to have now introduced a waiting room. And even though I've tried to disable this function, it still is here. So it is a little bit distracting for me because I'd rather everyone just came in, went, and I didn't have to manage the waiting room, but it is what it is. So I'm just looking out for that. So welcome on this Wednesday, the 15th. Monday, the 13th at 11 was our new moon in Scorpio, which was the first new moon after all the intensity of the eclipse season in October. And all the astrologers that I have listened to or read some of their stuff. Oh, thanks, Mandy. That's a good idea. Let's see if I can make you co-host. Okay, well, I'm making you host. Change host. Jamie, if you're happy to do that, then Nat is in the waiting room. So thank you. So all the astrologers have predicted a very intense time at the moment, and one of the ones that Ellen always sends me some interesting emails and things. Michael Lennox said, this configuration forecasts a wild ride for the entirety of this 30-day cycle, with the potential for the unexpected or for explosive disruptions that we will have to navigate, yet also for profound, brilliant innovation and renewed sense of our inner workings, our willpower, and our agency. So they haven't been wrong. There have been very unexpected deaths. The young Michael House boy, which has so disrupted the Michael House community. There have been some tragedies in Durban. I'm sure we all know of tragic deaths and diagnosis, and some were expected and some unexpected. There've also been intensities of weather with the hailstorm that you had in Johannesburg. For those of you in Johannesburg, I know it was very, very intense. I know there's volcanic stuff going on in Iceland and all sorts of things. And then we've also just got the news and the war in Israel and Palestine and an exam season. So it's a lot. And I really, when I always think of these first few lines of the poem Allow that we're going to do, there's no controlling life. Try corralling a lightning bolt containing a tornado. And sometimes we have an illusion that we can control life or that we should control life. And I think Buddhism explains it so well with the Four Noble Truths, which is implicit to all human nature. And they talk about dukkha or suffering. And we've talked about this before, but it's such a good reminder because it's such an unnatural approach in our Western world. So the first level of suffering is that people are sick. There is death, there is loss, there is tragedy, there's disaster, unemployment, financial crisis, whatever it is, dealing with that first level of suffering is a lot. But then the second level of suffering, so that's like an arrow in our heart. And then the second level of suffering is our judgment. And our judgment is so often that it shouldn't be this way. No one should have a child die before them. He was too young. Children should grow up with a father. How could this have happened? How could this? And at some level, I kind of, as I went through life, I sort of felt that I should be tapping into the second arrow, because then at some level I wasn't accepting or allowing what was going on. I was saying it shouldn't happen. And so by saying somehow not accepting it, it would make it somehow better. But actually, in fact, the Buddhists and Christ through his teachings, but I think he showed it more physically, the Buddhists sort of spell it out more literally, that there is the suffering, and we are only making this wound in our heart more raw and worse when we have the second arrow that we're putting in and out all the time by our non-acceptance and our judgment, us attaching what life should or shouldn't look like. And so it's a hard thing to switch from that resistance, and it shouldn't happen, and how can it happen? I find myself often slipping into it, even just in casual conversation. It's too terrible. How could this have happened? He shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. It's too terrible. It happened. It's very sad that it happened, but not the how and the why. And so Richard Rohr, who's a wonderful Franciscan monk from the Center of Action and Contemplation, he wrote that Buddhist wisdom points to the reality that suffering is an enduring and continual part of being alive. It just is. Suffering is part of being alive. We're often sheltered in our own kind of psychological palace, where we are shielded from things like illness. Yet this kind of suffering can ultimately not be avoided. We will all, every one of us, face old age, sickness, and death, a feeling that things should not be this way. In reality, though, things are and always have been this way. The suffering caused by illness and death is nothing new. According to a Buddhist legend, there was once a woman who sought out the Buddha after losing her baby to illness. Crazy with grief, she asked him for medicine to bring her son back from the dead. He replied that he would give her this medicine if she brought him back a white mustard seed from the house of a family that had never experienced death. The woman went door to door searching for a family untouched by the loss of a loved one. Of course, she could never find such a family. She realized that death touches everyone, and in realizing the universality of grief and death, her suffering lessened. So he points out that this story shows us that the feeling of things should not be this way is an additional and unnecessary pain on top of our inevitable suffering. We cannot avoid old age, sickness, and death, but we can remove the unnecessary assumption that things should be otherwise and the psychic pain that this assumption causes us. So it's as much of a reminder to me as to you this morning. And going back to Michael Lennox, who talked about expect the unexpected, he said, so our focus for this month is how can we find ways to calm our nervous system, even in stressful times? So this is what we are doing now. When we can find tendrils of beauty, grace, and love in the midst of incredibly challenging situations, we perform a radical act of kindness to ourselves and to each other. As we find our way through these painful times, may we each be deeply supported in our healing, clarity, and unique expression of brilliance. The potential for new possibilities is ripe for us all, and use that expanded spiritual connection to tap into flow, a greater sense of guidance that comes from higher realms. This new moon reminds me of the old adage, be the change you want to see in the world. So that is what we are doing now. We are regulating our nervous system. We are connecting to love, to God, to each other. And we are being the change that we want to see in the world. So I thank you for joining me today, whether you've just joined or listening to this later. And so I invite you in this moment just to take a deep breath. And as you breathe out, just allowing a sinking into your body. I invite you to either close your eyes or just soften your gaze. Wherever you are in this moment, just following your breath into your body. In your own time, in your own way, just following this breath and noticing a settling in your body as you do so. Noticing into your groundedness, your rootedness, where your connections are with the earth beneath you. Perhaps it's your feet, your seat, your chair, cushion, just wherever you are connected to the earth. beneath you and supported by this earth. Exploring these points of connection, these places perhaps of rootedness, the stability that they offer us, support that they offer us. And then noticing how from this place of rootedness and groundedness, of strength and support, the rest of our body can stretch up and reach out, expand. So perhaps noticing your spine as it uncurls out of your pelvic bowl, reaching up towards the sky, perhaps opening up your shoulders a little bit extra, inviting a softening to your chest and shoulder area, neck. Sensing into the expansion that the heavens, the sky, the stars, the moon allow us. This feeling of lightness, openness, expansion. Noticing how we can straddle these two worlds, these two realities of earth and sky, the yin and the yang, feeling both deeply in our bodies, part of both, affected by both. And as we sense into this feeling of settling, support, expansion, I invite you just to listen to these words by Dharma Folds. There's no controlling life. Try corralling a lightning bolt containing a tornado. Dam a stream and it will create a new channel. Resist and the tide will sweep you off your feet. Allow and grace will carry you to higher ground. The only safety lies in letting it all in, the wild and the weak, fear, fantasies, failures, and success. When loss rips off the doors of the heart, or sadness veils your vision with despair, practice becomes simply bearing the truth. In the choice to let go of your known way of being, the whole world is revealed to your new eyes. So feeding into our bodies with new eyes this morning. Starting with an expanded awareness, sensing into our whole bodies as we sit here. Noticing once again the steadiness and support of the earth in our seats, moving into the expansion and lightness of our upper body and torso. Taking in the feeling of our whole body, holding our whole body in our awareness. Perhaps feeling into The sensation of the air brushing against our skin. Noticing if we can feel where our body ends and the air around us gently touches. And gently and in your own time, just sensing with curiosity around your body. Taking a little bit of a tour, noticing sensations of skin brushing against fabric, or areas of pressure of thighs against the chair. Just bringing your curiosity in, looking with new eyes in and around your body. Tapping into perhaps sounds in your body, movement, body sensation. Perhaps there's gurgling or churning. Maybe there's stillness. Noticing into the rise and fall of your chest, beating of your heart. Change in your sensation and your awareness as you move your attention to an area. And if there's an area that has been bothering you or difficult for you in recent days or weeks, perhaps just allowing your attention to fall on that area. Again, with a curiosity rather than a judgment. Rather than jumping into thoughts of the future or the past, just noticing, feeling around, looking around, noticing what's there this moment today. And then it's bringing our attention to more of a laser focus, just bringing our attention more inwards to our heart space. Settling in your chest cavity, noticing the rise and fall here. Perhaps even feeling into where clothing may brush across your skin or your bra may be holding your chest. Noticing how that feels. And dropping deep below the rib cage and the skin into the heart space itself, into the heart, the lungs, this place of life energy, chi, prana. And consciously just regulating our breathing into a gentle wave-like fashion. Gentle rise and fall of the chest. And dropping in a feeling of gratitude for this moment, for this body, for this heartbeat and this breath. Sensing into the coherence that we create in our heart space when we regulate our breath and drop into gratitude. And then gently inviting this gratitude and this coherence just to spread through your body and noticing the effects on your body as it does so. When we move into a state of coherence in our heart space and our body, it regulates all sorts of our physiological processes. Our blood pressure decreases, our heart rate settles, it activates our prefrontal cortex. All sorts of science and research proves that our body just works better. And knowing that this is always available to us, for us to drop into at any time by just pausing and connecting with our heart space. You may want to rest your hands on your heart space, anchoring this feeling, and so that when you're wanting to return to this later in the day or at another time, by anchoring your hands back on your heart, it helps to facilitate it. Feeling into the healthy expansion and contraction that it creates in our heart space and in our body. Sitting with this for another moment longer. And knowing that when we get into this heart coherent state, we can influence those around us positively, with a feeling of containment, helping them to regulate themselves. The little ones in our lives, our loved ones, our pets, those we just pass in our day, connect with in our day. Because we are far more energetic beings than we know, we pick up on each other's energy very quickly. There is no controlling life. Try corralling a lightning bolt containing a tornado. Dam a stream and it will create a new channel. Resist and the tide will sweep you off your feet. Allow and grace will carry you to higher ground. The only safety lies in letting it all in, the wild and the weak, fear, fantasies, failure, and success. When loss rips off the doors of the heart or sadness veils your vision with despair, practice simply becomes bearing the truth. In the choice to let go of your known way of being, the whole world is revealed to your new eyes. And so with these practices, we let go of our known way of being and invite a new way of being in the world, being the change we want to see in this world. So taking a few more deep breaths. Perhaps you want to rub your thighs with your hands or rub your hands together. Perhaps you want to give yourself a squeeze, a hug, a stroke of the cheek. Perhaps you want to stretch, open, expand. The intention of expanding ourselves and our energy. And when you're ready, opening your eyes and taking in the colors, the lights, the names, faces, those amongst us. And thank you for joining today. It's always lovely to have you when you can join. Just to say that it's the 15th of November and we are going to be going away actually on the first weekend of December. So I think at this stage, the 29th of November, so we've probably got 2 more mindful moments by the end of the year. And then we'll resume again in January. We might do 1 or 2 in December, but I will keep you posted about that. Perhaps at significant times like the solstice, but I think we all need some time and space. And thank you, Jackie. Thank you for joining. Thank you, and I'd love you're welcome to unmute or to put any comments in. I didn't get anyone to really chat or connect when they first joined in. So if you'd like to do that, please do. And Mandy, I know you were just facilitating and presenting at this parenting conference that Dr. Shefali was at. And if you have anything to share with us, I'd just love to hear a little bit. She's such a wonderful woman with so much to share. And if you're not rushing off, I'd love to hear.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was lovely to also just see Dee Dee at the back. We didn't get a chance to connect, but yeah. You know what the thing is, Nikki, is that she got up. Sorry, I'm not apologizing. I'm enjoying still being in my bed because my daughter doesn't have an exam today, so didn't have to rush off to drop her. And yeah, so with Dr. Shefali, she played such a pivotal role in my exploration of this conscious parenting journey. And she got up on the stage, Nikki. She didn't have a note. She didn't have a PowerPoint. She wasn't trying to say that, look how clever I am. Look at how many books I've written. Look how my accolades. She was like, I just want to talk to your hearts. And really, really connected with the audience, really made the information so applicable and so real. She was so real. It was like, and yeah, it spoke to me again about how the authenticity, people just want authenticity.
Yeah, and again, that sensing of energy and authenticity.
Yeah, just really, really profound. I was, yeah, I was sad. I couldn't stay right till the end because I needed to get to the airport to get to Cape Town. But it's, yeah, I was disappointed at the turnout. little bit disappointed at how like the venue had changed very last minute. I'm not sure how well I think it could have probably been advertised a little bit better. But yeah, those who were in the room just really, really benefited from it, and it was fantastic. Yeah.
Also lovely to have her here, and hopefully she'll come again, and hopefully we'll have a bit more notice or some, because I think I didn't, I would have definitely tried to come.
No, she was wonderful. Nikki, just on another note about the second arrow, do you know where I can, that was so, like, I needed to hear that today. And the piece about the suffering. Are you willing to share that
Yes,
with
absolutely.
me?
I can
so
email you my notes from today, which has got some of the quotes in it, and I can also share one or two other resources with you if you'd like.
That would be so helpful. Thank you. I just think the world needs to hear this right now. There's just so much going on, and people are really taking strain, as we know. So I think the more we can just share that, the better. Thank you.
I can also share when I did my mindfulness-based, my mindfulness course, we had to learn about Buddhism, and then we had to do a bit of a paper. I can't remember why I wrote it. I think it was just a reflection that I did personally of I actually compared the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism with Jesus's really his last days on earth, and I really do think that in the Bible and in Christ's progress, he shows it physically, and then Buddhism kind of explains it kind of a bit like 1, 2, 3, 4. The Buddha was 8 rules and 5 this and this, and so I'll share that with you too if you'd like. Yeah, so if anyone wants me to, Nat, I see you and Silky are too, you're welcome to just DM me, and then I'll send it when I have a chance.
Amazing.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nikki. You're such a gift.
Unpolished, but at least it's one can then also look for other places from where to find it.
Yeah, so helpful. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining.
And next, before you go,
you
want to stop recording then?
Okay, shall I stop recording? Well, it's always interesting to hear what else is this about. Is this astrology, or is this?
No, not really. No, again, also, I would love to get more about that second arrow of suffering. And I'm meeting with somebody today that I think would be very relevant to her. So, and I love that you shared Michael Lennox's teachings as well that I sent us. When I sent to you, I thought Nikki's going to love this one.
There's so many things that overlap and overflow. It's so interesting to see.
But one of the things I'm realizing more and more is how much astrology is not the doom and gloom that it sort of at one point was, and all the flippancy that it was, there seems to be more of a serious thing, but so much of it goes back to what we can do within us. And that we can't change the world, and we can't complain about the world, and just that understanding that so without, so within, and the more we can do within ourselves to actually heal and not accept, that's probably the wrong word, but receive. And I had such a giggle. I was sitting outside of the store while you were doing the meditation, when you opened and you said about the soft breeze on your skin and the breathe like the waves. I mean, we've got an easterly here. So I actually giggled and I thought, well, just at the moment, wind and waves is a bit of a tempest, but
not like a soft wave.
No, there's nothing gentle about it today, but it was really exciting as well. So thanks.
Well, that's what I find the astrology so much more empowering than I ever thought it would be. People think of it as forecasting and things and set in stone, and for me, my understanding is more like a little bit of a map. Like, don't be surprised, this may happen, but this can be your role within it. Yeah, as you say, so within and so without.
And being aware of it, you can then choose how you accept this tidal wave that's coming at you. Or the easterly.
The easterly, Thank you, Ellen, and thank you, everyone. And then for those who want to join for the Mindful Drop, we're talking about Yarrowpom and Intune. But thanks, everyone, and I'll be uploading this to my website soon.
Bye.
See you next week.